All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the East Ramapo Central School District Board Meeting. It's now 7:17 p.m. We would like to call this meeting to order. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to make a public safety announcement. Fire exits are located at the front of the boardroom and at the sides of the boardroom. In the event of a fire, you will hear a fire alarm. At that time, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the nearest exit. Thank you. Anticipated executive meeting, I would like to now make a motion to enter executive session. Ms. Kivy, can you please state the reason?
To receive an update on ERTA negotiations and the possible appointment of a particular person or corporation. We do expect action following executive session.
Thank you. Can I now have a second? Second. All in favor? No one opposes, so carries. We will now enter into executive session. Thank you. chance to talk to you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'd like to call this meeting back to order. Before we open the floor for public speaking, we are going to make a motion to approve a new teacher's contract. Kathy, would you like to read the motion, please?
Ready for the motion?
Okay, I'd like to make the motion. Do I have a second? Oh, do you
Second.
want to read it?
A motion to adopt the following resolution. Whereas the district and the East Ramapo Teachers Association, ERTA, are parties to a valid and binding collective bargaining agreement, and whereas the district and ERTA have agreed to terms of a memo of agreement related to changes to the CBA for the 2022-23 through 2025-26 school year, the MOA, and now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the East Ramapo Central School District hereby 1, authorizes and approves entering into such MOA, and 2, authorizes the interim superintendent and or the board president to sign and execute the MOA.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we need to do roll call, or? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, abstain. Motion carries. Yes, I'll now give it over to our superintendent for a quick statement.
Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to comment on us working together between the school district and the teachers union as we reached an important and a milestone for our school community as a result of tonight's ratification. This contract not only reflects the hard work of our educators and administrators, but also our commitment to the East Ramapo Central School District to prioritize our students and their futures. As I promised you several months ago, we would continue to dialogue with the teachers' union, and we worked to finally come to agreement after 2.5 years. This contract is more than just an agreement on salaries. It's a testament to the mutual respect we have for our teachers who dedicate their lives to educating our students and shape the leaders of tomorrow. I want to thank the teachers' union, the executive board, for their hard work and patience and professionalism. I know this was not easy, and it was a long journey to get to tonight. I want to thank the school board and central office. A special thanks to Mr. Stark, Ms. Relusco, Mr. Gerhardt for all their leadership and dedication through the negotiation process in reaching a balanced and thoughtful resolution. Your insights and collaboration were very, very instrumental. And to finally, you, the community, we thank you for your patience and faith, paciencia y fe, as you have confidence in the new team as we embarked on getting a contract and made it become a reality. Your support and advocacy for our schools are deeply appreciated. This is a moment of unity, I hope, in which we can continue as we work for many, many years to come. It's a reminder as we enter into the holiday season that we can accomplish many great things when we come together for the good of the community, our students, and our families. Let's carry that spirit forward as we enter into the new year. To the students, teachers, staff, administrators, parents, and the school board, let me say it's been a pleasure working with you. I am grateful for all your dedication, collaborations, and patience. May the upcoming holidays be a time for recreation, relaxation with families and friends, so important as we prepare for the challenges and opportunities that a new year has to begin. Now, let's take time to reflect on our blessings, recharge, and let's make the East Ramapo Central School District the best school district it can possibly become. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DiCarlo. I will now make a motion to open the floor for public speaking. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President McGill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, abstain, motion carries. Speaker number one.
Not on.
Is working out? Thank you. Good evening. First of all, I'd like to applaud these young students from Spring Valley and Ramapo High School for coming out to these board meetings. There's starting to be a change. With these young students here representing, that means change is coming. I'd like to thank the boards, from the Students Advisory for Spring Valley, Ms. Herrera, and for Ramapo, Ms. Hunt, for leading these students to understanding the importance of their appearances here today, to understand that only together can we make change. It is a huge accomplishment out of all the years that I've been here to see so many young, energetic students. To a Ramapo student who I just found out, Alexis Palencia, bright student, by talking to him, very intellectual, very forthcoming. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Congratulations to your full scholarship to Columbia. On another note, as you had said, only together as a community can we make this change happen. So I'm speaking for the entire community, because I know that certain people will come up here and speak about the budget. Understand that as I speak to you, I speak as an individual in the community, and we don't mind the budget increase. It should not be touched. We have not had a tax increase in over 10 years. I understand that $30 million was found. I understand the miscalculations. I understand everything else, but understand that we still have $200,000 worth of repairs that still need to be done. Okay, 200 million, worth of repairs that need to be done. Repairs that are still neglected in our school. See the cause right here? This is the reason why it should be repaired. For these students, for the teachers, for the staff, because that's worth it. Everybody wants to complain about the increase and about how unaffordable it could be, but there's a lot of people here that I've seen that are on welfare and own businesses and have sub-businesses and sub-businesses. Stop the malarkey. Start realizing it's about the children, it's about the schools, it's about the community and providing what's best for the children in these schools, and stop saying your pockets are empty. Hey, I'm low income and I'm still making ends meet and I'm going to be paying the same taxes as everybody else, so it doesn't matter. One more thing is the search firms that had responded to RFPs last Wednesday. Are they making any decisions? Will they share proposals with the public? Will they consult in time, and what time? Thank you very much.
Speaker number 2.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm just here to mention something that has come across from the nurse's office. And basically, they were saying, when are the renovations for the nurse's office going to be complete? Because they have a sink that is not functioning and they need it to be functioning, so that in case there's a situation where there's 2 students who, and I would hate to just like throw it out here and say something vulgar, but like, let's say that one is vomiting in the bathroom and then the other one has like, let's say a paper cut, right? We can't handle both in the same restroom, especially if there's only one restroom and if the sink is not functioning. And also, it is also noted that the wall is opened up and you can see within and see the pipes within the building. And there's a lot of critters that are within there. So I just wanted to make that known. And I mean, that's all I have for today. But thank you for listening, and I appreciate every single one of you who helped with the cause of the water fountains, of course, because it was really important for our schools. And I think recently I got to drink out of one, and it was a surreal experience knowing that I got to drink out of a water fountain and actually not be scared to drink out of one for once. So thank you for those who put the effort into making sure that we have our water fountains. And that is all I have for today. So thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Which school are you in? Sir, which school do you go to? Which school are you in?
Ask him the school you're from.
Ramapo. Got it. Thank you. Speaker number 3.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gloria Shirley, and I attend Spring Valley High School. I'm a senior. And today, I would like to talk to you about reinstating honors classes. I firmly believe that honors classes provide students with the valuable opportunity to challenge themselves academically and reach their full potential. By reinstating honors classes, we are acknowledging the diverse learning needs for our student body and committing to providing pathways to inspire excellence. And I'd also like to take the time to amend Mr. DiCarlo. Thank you for improving our school. It looks really beautiful. The doors, I love it. The basketball games, I know is going to be very fun with all this new stuff that are coming. And the weight room, I personally, that actually warms my heart because I'm a track thrower, and the weight room is where I like to work out. So thank you for taking the time and bringing positivity to our school.
Thank you.
And that is all for today.
Thank you. Speaker number 4.
Good evening. My name is Priscilla Mansar. I'm a junior at Ramapo High School, and I want to bring up, adding to the last speaker. Thank you. Adding to the last speaker, that many students have brought up the fact that we want more variety of electives in our school that focus on medicine or other career paths that they can access to because we don't have these type of programs in our schools. And a student wants to engage and explore their interests academically, and we need more of these programs so they could afford to. Okay, and I want to thank Mr. DiCarlo also for, I love seeing like someone who like so strongly advocate for students, and I see like we can actually make things better at our schools. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 5.
Good evening. Got a couple questions to ask. These are questions people are actually asking, have been asking, but some don't really know. So I'll ask the board. How many schools are covered under the umbrella of East Ramapo School District? Are the public schools prioritized last versus the so-called private schools? What is taught in these schools versus the public schools? Do the children of the school board members attend the public schools that they are in charge of? No other school district in Rockland County has this type of dysfunction in their school district. This has been one of the worst school districts in all of Rockland County. None of this foolishness is seen in New City, Pearl River, Clarkstown, North Rockland, where I attended, Suffern, etc. Why is that? East Ramapo School District is being run like the village of Spring Valley and cannot be trusted. School buses, from a safety point of view, school buses, several accidents have occurred, yet there are still many buses driving at high speeds daily throughout East Ramapo School District and throughout the village of Spring Valley. Buses are seen driving past young children at high speed, who often are alone, waiting for other buses to pick them up. The gust of wind from the buses passing by at high speeds can push a child over, potentially into the street, into oncoming traffic, which I've seen. These same buses very often have children riding inside, not seated. Very often children are seen standing next to the drivers and are removed from seats when the buses go over bumps or make turns at high speeds. You can see kids flying out of their seats. Public safety is at a higher risk due to this added effect. And it's on already congested roads. Most, if not all, of these buses do not have cameras either. Do these school bus companies or owners, operators give a care about the safety of the public or the safety of the children riding the buses? I'm sick and tired of hearing about accidents, and it seems each time there's an accident, it's just brushed away. Nobody hears anything about it. I don't want said buses to run over other children, or anybody for that matter, and cause another accident. It needs to be really looked at really fast. Thanks.
Speaker number 6.
Good evening to the board. My name is Elizabeth Bruna. I am a junior that goes to Spring Valley High School. This is my first ever board meeting. While I stand here, I asked the question to myself: what took me so long to find a seat at a table that is addressing my own education and future? It is time to address how we may fill in the gaps as other districts are progressing. I understand that we are trying to catch up, but we're still very set back. We understand that there's a bigger hand playing this, but what fight can we lose when we stand together? This is not a fight we can just give up on, because we understand our children, education is what is at stake. In about a year, I will be graduating from high school. I am now understanding how much of a challenge it will be to get into my dream schools because of how I've been set back. I hope the following things I can talk about can later help me get into the colleges of my choice. A lot of the seniors have brought to my attention the importance of bringing back SAT prep. While other kids were given time to prepare for tests, tests that are defining their futures, we walk into the same test rooms completely unprepared and blind to what may be in those tests, Bringing me to my other point, a lot of courses that have been eliminated due to the lack of teachers. There are kids who sit in AP classes not able to keep up with the curriculum, letting themselves fall completely behind and just simply don't have the motivation to learn because they can't see themselves catching up. I can give an example, our AP chemistry class. That class seats about 30 students. I took the class myself, and it's a very vigorous course, and it simply isn't made for everybody. So we need to implement more teachers with qualifications to put back honors classes, because it simply isn't fair for students to simply pass by and just get the title of taking an AP class knowing they didn't learn anything. Also, there are over 39 AP classes, but our school only has 11 due to the lack of teachers. Again, how is this fair to me? Parents, higher-ups, guardians, siblings, just anyone a part of the East Ramapo community, how much of this are we willing to take? There is so much to address of how corrupt things have been and have become. We have so little time to speak, but please hear me out on some of my points I have brought up. We want to carry out our hopes and dreams as students and continue on furthering our education. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 7.
Can I put this on? Whatever. Yeah. Hello, my name is Alexis Palencia. I serve as the senior class president at Ramapo Senior High School. I wanted to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude. I know that there are challenges within East Ramapo, but over the past year, I've witnessed real progress and positive change. I wanted to extend my thanks to Mr. DiCarlo for the impactful town hall we had this past month, where students were able to come to the auditorium and discuss our concerns with our superintendent. It was heartwarming to see my peers feel heard and to gain a real hope that change will come. Thank you for all the progress we've had, especially the gym. Secondly, to Ms. Cooper, our new principal at Ramapo Senior High School, I thank you for your leadership, dedication, and support as we have been trying to create new change over the past few months. However, and I say this kindly and with wholehearted respect, these changes have been the bare minimum, changes that should have already been implemented, and so I ask from my community and my peers, let us continue to expect excellence and not back down until we reach said excellence. While I have your attention, I'd like to make a request for my community. There's often a shadow of negativity cast over East Ramapo, but I believe it's time to be focused on the light that needs to be recognized and celebrated. Last week, I received the incredible honor of being accepted to Columbia University with a full scholarship. But this achievement was not the result of a single moment. It's the culmination of a long, challenging journey filled with many wins that I believe deserve to be celebrated, wins that I was able to receive not in spite of my education here at East Ramapo, but because of it. I believe that when I got a scholarship to study at Yale over the summer, or when I was flown out to Emory University this past October, that should have been highlighted. And I don't speak only for myself, I speak for all the students in East Ramapo who are accomplishing remarkable things. Take my friend Mia Hernandez, who just this past weekend traveled to Rochester for a state competition because of her high placement at NYSSMA competitions, the first in a very long time. Take my friend Tiffany Ortiz, who just last year received a full scholarship to Yale University, or all my friends who have received acceptances to top colleges, including Cornell, Boston University, Princeton, and so on. These successes are the stories that should be highlighted. These are the stories that need to be shared because they represent the resilience, talent, and potential that define our community. Let's shift the narrative and show the world the greatness that East Ramapo is capable of. There is light here, even if the world refuses to acknowledge it. In short, I ask that we continue our advocacy for a more equitable educational landscape, but to also recognize the great things that do come out of East Ramapo. Let us not forget that at the end of the day, we are a community that needs to be rooted in unity. Thank you.
Alexis, just stay there for a second. Just stay there for a second. So a couple of things that I want to share with you. First of all, congratulations, because you and the others that you just mentioned are really the tale of this district. You started here in kindergarten, okay, in your journey to 12th grade. So the education that you've gotten here allowed you, and the hard work of you and your family, please don't dismiss that, allowed you to achieve one of the biggest accomplishments you can. My heart was warmed seeing you last week at the computer. Watching your face will stay in my mind forever, because that says it all. We are in the process, you can clap, we are We are in the process, and I'm working with my PR department. We're actually going to do a superintendent's corner and highlight all of what you just talked about. So I don't want you to think that we're not. We are. We're definitely going to do that. And I know in my heart, you and the others you just mentioned, here's what we need you to do. You're going to be those role models who are going to go to college and get a great education and come back and say, you know what? If I can do it at East Ramapo, you can do it at East Ramapo. So thank you so very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Speaker number 8.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you. First of all, I'm very proud of the students of East Ramapo who've graduated and are accepted in the top universities. That's very, very great. I'm very happy to see that. I am with the Southeast Ramapo Taxpayers Association. East Ramapo has 2 monitors, even the only district in New York State who has, even though nothing illegal was ever found to be done in East Ramapo, they still had monitors. They took away our democratic vote. It has become taxation without representation. It is a dictatorship, not a democracy. We had our taxes increased 4.38% by false pretenses. We were told that there will be a $20 million deficit, and now we found that there's a over $31 million increase. They found that in the funds, which means the monitor had an over $51 million mistake. If he would have been in private practice, he would have been fired long ago. What I want to tell the board now, which is very important when they're formulating now next year's budget, the way the budget works, the following year's budget will be based on the previous year's budget. In other words, that 5.38% increase will be the base, and on top of that, they will make the new budget. Being that 4.38% was done by false pretenses, it should have never been done. They said that there would be a $20 million loss, whereas there was a over $31 million increase in the funding that the district had. They should remember when they formulate next year's budget to take off that 5.38 increase and budget it from the base which it was supposed to be without having false pretenses. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Speaker number 9.
We speak in Spanish, so. Muy buenas noches a todas las personas, a todos los miembros del board. También muchas gracias a todos los estudiantes que están presentes esta noche. A mí me llena mi corazón de gratitud verlos aquí. Ustedes son nuestra voz, la voz de sus padres, de muchos de sus padres que están ahora en casa. Se sientan orgullosos de que ustedes están levantando la voz que necesita East Ramapo. Necesitamos la voz de ustedes, los alumnos, los que están siendo sacudidos por esta, yo la llamo una ola de violencia contra la educación. También quiero extender mi gratitud a Di Carlo por todo el trabajo que ha venido haciendo. Es una persona que ha tenido, digámoslo en mis palabras, los pantalones para poder llevar este distrito. Quiero agradecer a todos los miembros del board y también no dejar pasar esta oportunidad para decirles que era su responsabilidad saber dónde estaba ese dinero también. Y no pensar cómo pasó esto. Ustedes saben cómo pasó. So, tomen el valor de decir, nosotros cometimos un error al dejar que pasaran todos esos números por nuestra cabeza y no decir, ¿cómo pasó esto? No pueden decir ahora, ustedes no saben cómo pasó esto, porque esto pasó en sus narices. Ustedes dejaron que se recorten cosas porque no había dinero cuando el dinero estaba ahí. Ustedes permitieron eso. No pueden decir que no sabían porque ustedes sabían muy bien lo que estaban haciendo. De la misma manera, y ahora que se está preparando el valle, quiero que sea un valle equitativo, donde que se establezca una buena suma de dinero. Nosotros no deberíamos de estar peleando por si el dinero se va a las escuelas privadas, a las públicas. Esto nos divide como comunidad, en vez de unirnos. No necesitamos que una persona que Weber sale y dice que vamos a las privadas, a las públicas. No. Deberíamos ser solo uno, defendiendo la educación, sea por las escuelas privadas o las públicas. Estamos mal si estamos pensando que cuál merece más. Todos merecen, nuestros hijos merecen, independientemente si estás en la pública o en la privada. Mereces una educación equitativa, mereces una educación buena. So, no nos sigamos dividiendo, unámonos. Thank you.
Thank you. So, just to clarify, I just want to correct some false information that was just stated, because I'm assuming that probably you were by the meeting where we at this board, even when we were facing a proposed deficit, and we proposed a list of cuts that the superintendent, the then superintendent, together with the state had recommended, and us together as a board specifically said, we will not allow any cuts to any student-facing services. So just to correct false information that was just stated, I just want to know, repeat for the record, and there was enough people that are currently here that were at that meeting where we specifically said multiple times that we will not allow any student-facing cuts. Thank you. Speaker number 10.
Good evening. We were just thinking and talking with another parents, and we have one question. So we have the cameras on the, tenemos las cámaras en los buses. Ese dinero que se está colectando con todas esas multas, ¿a dónde se está yendo? Si hemos tenido... Okay. Buenas noches con todos. Hemos estado en conversaciones con otros padres y tenemos una pregunta para todos ustedes. Si hemos puesto las cámaras en los buses, el cual está muy bien y le agradecemos mucho porque eso se está incrementando y hace más seguro las calles para nuestros niños y para el público en general. Si hemos tenido 17,000 multas por $250, 4 millones, ¿cuánto es 17,000 multas que hemos hecho? Por $250 cada multa, ¿verdad? ¿Dónde se va ese dinero? ¿Ese dinero debería ser para la comunidad o es para las escuelas? Nos gustaría que nos informen ese dinero, dónde está y cómo está siendo distribuido. Necesitamos claridad. Esa es una cosa. Another concern, los buses, por favor, hay muchos niños que se quedan solos, niños menores de edad, menores de 12 años, no deberían quedarse, el chofer no les debería dejar sin un adulto que los recoja de su parada. Eso debería ser por ley y seguridad de todos los niños. Spring Valley es un lugar muy inseguro. Como que yo vivo y tengo mi casa en Spring Valley, le digo, Spring Valley es un lugar muy, muy inseguro para dejar a los niños solos. Necesitaría, por favor, superintendente, que por favor, necesitábamos empezar a implementar como se hace en los otros condados, en los otros distritos. Niño que no es recogido por su padre, que lo devuelvan a la escuela. Y así todos los padres van a aprender también a ser responsables. Responsables. Porque la manera que el distrito ha estado funcionando es que todas las personas hacían lo que les daba la gana, no responsabilidades. Necesitamos también que los papás empiecen a ser responsables por sus niños. Tienen un niño menor de edad, tiene que estar para recoger a su niño. Correctamente, tiene que estar supervisado a los niños pequeños. I was here when we need the money. We need the money for the schools. That's all I can say. It's not just for the public school. The money is for all the kids, because the kids from the private schools, they get the money for the public school.
Something's wrong with this.
Okay, please ma'am, please address the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's it. And I think we are working together. We are improving many things. We have to continue working and improving, and then we're going to see how this year is going to end. But I think that things are going better and better, and then we start working together, so that's good news. Not all is bad, but we need just start working together, getting better. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 9. I'm sorry, speaker number 11.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Huayos. I'm currently a junior attending Spring Valley High School. Having grown up attending schools in East Ramapo, I've watched several superintendents make empty promises only to resign, having done nothing to help the students. I stand here today in hopes that history stops repeating. In a world that's so interconnected, the ability to communicate is only growing in importance. How can we truly connect with those around us if we're unable to speak to them? Though it's an interesting concept to many, it's the reality for about 60% of students in our very own schools. It's easy to blame the increasing rates of absenteeism and poor academic performance on the students, but it's time to question the opportunities they've been given. First of all, let's look at the facts. About 60% of East Ramapo Central School District's student body is composed of ENL students, the majority of which natively speak Spanish and Creole. If so much of our district is made up of non-English speakers, how is it that the majority of our high school teachers are not bilingual? What are we as a district doing to attract, hire, and retain qualified bilingual teachers? How do we expect to improve grades, chronic absenteeism, and low graduation rates when the majority of students aren't being accommodated? These kids sit in class every day, entirely unable to understand the instructions that teachers are giving them. Frustrated, many of them become disengaged with school, don't participate in class, and eventually stop coming to school altogether. The language barrier within the East Ramapo Central School District presents a huge challenge to the academic success of non-English speaking students. By neglecting the needs of these students, we're failing to provide equitable educational opportunities. In order to rectify this issue, the district must prioritize bilingual education, invest in qualified teachers, create more courses that prioritize these students, and implement innovative language learning technologies. By taking these steps, the district can ensure that all students, regardless of their language background, have the chance to thrive and reach their full potential. It's crucial that we recognize the importance of language access and education and work towards creating a more inclusive and equitable learning environment for all. Thank you.
So don't go anywhere. So we actually did that tonight. So in the second resolution, what we've done is we're working with getting you teachers who are qualified to teach you, because for far too long that wasn't happening. Let me explain this to everybody here. It is something, when I got here and I learned about it, that I had no words, okay? Because things don't change if things don't change. So what we did tonight is so outside the box to try to help you, the students. You need to understand that, okay? Because we're not going to sit around and wait and wait and wait like we've been doing. So we're actually going to be getting teachers in front of you starting in January to speak the language and help you get to where you need to get. So that's an important piece for you and the community and for the students here to understand. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
But now we go, but I want to, if you don't mind, President Rowe, but this is where this is important. And one of the parents just mentioned working together. That's because I brought this Board of Education and explained the importance about it. And that's why we weren't here at the beginning of the meeting, because we talked about it. And the board unanimously agreed to do that. So that's really vitally important, very much so.
Thank you very much, Mr. DiCarlo, and thank you to all the students that came out. Hope to see you guys here again. It's always good to see you guys.
Thank you. Please don't leave, because now I'm going to explain. I'm going to talk as now
Sorry,
superintendent.
now we're going to move on to the superintendent's report.
Right.
Go ahead, Mr.
This is
DiCarlo.
really important. Students, you weren't here, but some of the people were in this audience. So about 2 months ago, I explained to the audience and I explained to the Board of Education about foundation aid, and that there was a report coming out that was asked to be done by the governor from the Rockefeller Institute to talk about foundation aid. Basically, in a short kind of explanation, foundation aid is monies that the state gives to districts, okay, in regards to state aid. If they were to fund it the way it should have been, we wouldn't have any discussion, ladies and gentlemen, because East Ramapo has been shortchanged over the last 15 years, almost $400 million. Okay? So when we talk about advocacy and we talk about things, a lot of this advocacy now needs to go and turn around. Letters need to be written to the governor. Letters need to be written to the representatives, because here's what happened. The report came out and it said the following. It said that the districts that are hold harmless, another quick understanding. So there's a lot of wealthy districts in Long Island and in Westchester County that have dropped their populations. But because of political pressure, they didn't have their state aid go down. It stayed the same. So guess what it said in the report? You shouldn't continue to do that. Those monies should come towards the East Ramapos of the world. Okay? You shouldn't be getting these monies for seats that are not there. They should be going to schools that have a big L population. They should be going to schools with poverty. And now what does the governor do the next day? Well, I'm not too sure about it. This is what I mean about politics and how it drives what happens and how it affects East Ramapo. So sometimes we get up here and we're screaming and yelling. We need to start screaming and yelling at the state about funding what we should be getting in foundation aid. Now, I know what I'm saying is not going to go over well with some of my colleagues in the other districts, but that's the reality. I got to fight for you and the community of East Ramapo to get what we rightly deserve. So that's important, and I know your principals are here, your advisors are here. That's a kind of campaign that you as class presidents, that you as parents really have to now say, hey, listen, East Ramapo needs its fair share. Okay, because here we go again, it's about politics. And let's understand something. At the end of the day, politicians are politicians for a reason. Okay? They always want to continue to get elected. But you have to understand, you have to see what they do. You vote them in, but what are you doing? Are you supporting East Ramapo? Are you not? This is just not for the people that are representatives here. Please don't take that and twist it. I'm talking about the whole state. Are you doing things that are best for kids? We talk about holding ourselves accountable. We have to hold everybody accountable, because this is an important piece to the budget. Because if the monies were there, we wouldn't have to worry about it. And the parent that just got up and spoke about our entire community, actually last week, I and 4 of our assistant superintendents met with the leaders of all the non-publics and yeshivas. If you were in the room with me, the exact palabras that you used, I used. About we're juntos, we have to work together instead of pointing fingers. We're here for the common good of all children. And with that being said, I explain that we're going to be transparent in the budget, because a lot of what we want to do just doesn't impact our kids, it impacts the non-publics. When they want additional services, when they need additional counseling, we want to know what they need. So when I come before this board and I show you the budget and why we need more positions, why we want to put APs in, why we want to put CTE classes, why we want to do this, but you need money to do that, right? So that's so important, and I wanted to just express that to you, because as we go through this budget process, this is really important. And student voice can't just be here tonight. It's got to be through the entire process. It's your schools. It's you. It's what you do. And I have to tell you, everybody in the audience, these young men and young women who are in front of you are the classiest, most respectful students. I've met with them over the last 3 months in our student circles. Their advisors are there caring about them, and what we're learning and they're learning is, guess what? We have a voice, we have a say, we're going to be here, we're not going away. We want to work with you, the superintendent, we want to work with you, the board, to do what's best for the students of East Ramapo. So before some of you leave, thank you, and I just wanted to share that with you, so thank you very much. And so you're looking at the pillars of how a budget is developed. And I know the gentleman just left, and I'm sorry that he left, but I want to make everybody clear, we are not rolling over a budget. We're not going by what happened in the past. We're starting from ground zero and putting a budget together that meets the needs of our students. Period, end of conversation. That's the most important piece that everybody needs to understand. We're working with our principals, we're working with our assistant superintendents, we're going to work with the board because we're going to hear what some of your thoughts and concerns are. So we're going to present, and I will present to you ultimately the budget that we feel meets the needs. Ultimately, of course, it's your determination as the board as to how we proceed moving forward. But within those pillars, you'll see student learning, curriculum, as you've heard from the students, there's a lot of things in that. Student life, student expectations, social emotional readiness, student outcomes, facilities, of course, and then community relations and communication will all be a part of what you'll see in that budget. So as we go through, a couple of things on this. Snow is coming, believe it or not, probably in the next couple of weeks maybe, or the next months. Just please, everybody, make sure you have that plan in case we have to close or have an early dismissal. I'll make decisions by 5:30 because we know high schoolers, you got to get ready and operational. We're going to send the notifications out via robocalls, Remind, district homepage, social media, you name it, we're always going to do it. But it's important that you have your Chromebooks ready with you. If we think there's going to be inclement weather, and your principals will announce something, because we'll be going to remote on some of these days if we use a lot of snow days. So it's an important piece for everybody to understand, and this is a guide that's on our website that you can follow. Also, I'm sorry. That was me. Did I hear? That's my ear. I'm sorry. I thought somebody said something. I just want to remind everybody, our winter concerts coming up. Tomorrow, I'll be at Ramapo High School. The next day, I'll bring at Spring Valley. Please come out and see all our fine arts perform. And then the following week, I'll be at ECC. Also, congratulations to our thespians. I was able to attend both the play at Ramapo High School, Augusta and Noble, and then this past weekend, I saw Too Many Detectives at the Murder Mansion. I want to thank all those who were involved. I want to thank the directors. I want to thank the students, the students behind the scenes, in front of the stage, and back of the stage. It was wonderful, and I look very much forward to the presentations that are coming up in the spring. Now, here's what is also important to understand. So, as was mentioned before, and I think this is something that I can only speak about my time here since July 1st with the monitors. I can't speak to the past, but I can tell you in working with Dr. Jallo and in working with Mr. Farr, this is a partnership. We work together, we try to be proactive, and everything that they're doing is in the best interest of our students and the community. Yes, they have a lot of concerns. You know why, ladies and gentlemen, they have concerns? Because things should have been done along the way that weren't. And now we're at the point of where we're at. And that's why we have this plan, because they want to make sure we're moving along on what we need to do as a school district. So tonight's is just a quick little overview of some of the work that's been done over the first quarter. We have, and I apologize for tonight because we have both Dr. Gonzalez and Mr. Shanahan who are not feeling well, so I'm going to do the first little overlay, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Morales. But anyway, as a part of the plan, we put together really what should be the theory of action which supports our schools, whether we are in schools that are in good standing, whether we are schools that have work to do. What does that look like, and what do we need to do? And really summarizing this, it really is putting together a comprehensive program when it comes to curriculum and instruction, when it comes to assessment, when it comes to social emotional readiness for our students, when it comes to where's the money going, right? So when things are happening and we're looking at new programs or programs that we had before, are they working? How do we know they're working? Well, we have to look at the data, and the data will tell us whether we're doing a good job, whether we're not doing a good job, and what we need. One of the other things that's really an important piece to this is collaboration, working together with our building principals, with our administrators, with our teachers' unions, because if you don't look at data, things don't change if things don't change. So there's a big push of accountability on all levels of what's happening in the district. So when people talk about, in the past, people have done things, nobody knew what was going on, I have to be honest with you, and it's only fair to the board in a lot of ways didn't know either, because you don't know what you don't know if you're not told what you don't know. Does that make sense? I know it's a play on words. So what we're trying to do in this plan is to be transparent, honest, open, and create an accountability system as we move forward. We have quarterly meetings. This is the first quarter as we're presenting this to the Board of Education. And then we're talking about feedback that we're getting from our staff on what we could do. I talked about data tracking. We talked about procedures for a budget and what needs to go into the budget and the whys behind it, as you'll see over the next couple of months. Professional development is key. Here's what's happened in East Ramapo for a long time. You're right, no money. What's the first thing we cut? Professional development. So when we're going to put professional development in, we want to do it thoughtfully and over time. And that's a big area of concentration that I know that Dr. Gonzalez and his team is working on. The Board of Education has partaken in 2 retreats over the last couple of months. The last one we did was on budget, and before that was about governance and policy. So I don't want anybody to think that the board is not updating itself and educating itself on what best practices are in regards to board governance. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Morales, who'll tell you a little bit about, as you mentioned, bilingual, because that's a big part of who we are as a district. Ms. Morales?
Thank you, Mr. DiCarlo. So some of the other partnerships that we have with the Auburn, you got it, thank you, which is the Regional Bilingual Education Resource Network. We are expanding our advanced literacies, which started 2 years ago in the district with teachers in grades 7 through 12, and we are bringing those down to grades K and 3 and also 4 and 6. I just want to highlight that our first cohort, some of the teachers were actually invited to present at the Voices United Conference in New York City back in October. So congratulations to our teachers once again. In addition to this partnership with the Auburn, we have also collaborated with Dr. Auslander from CUNY, and that is to make sure that we address the needs of our SIVE students. Those are our students with interrupted formal education or students with inconsistent formal education as well. So we are working together with the building leaders and the teachers to provide the professional development that's needed to make sure that we can offer the courses to meet the needs of the students. We have some other recommendations that we will provide more updates during quarter number 2. But in addition to this, we are also, you can go to the next one. Thank you. We are also in conversations to start and transition our transitional bilingual education program to a dual language education program, okay, for the September 2025-2026 school year. In addition to that, in alignment with all the other departments, so PPS, curriculum and instruction, multilingual education. We are working together to craft a professional development plan that will address all the curriculum needs in the district. We are also collaborating with QTEL, which is Quality Teaching of ELS, and in partnership with them and ARCOR, which was the curriculum adopted for bilingual education, to further the skills of our teachers so that we can support the students in our classrooms.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. And then we're doing, and I know some of you are on these all the time, our family universities have gone over so very well this year with listening to the public, and I know we're listening and doing a great job in getting information out to you about a lot of different things in our schools that are happening. We just did one about hiring and how we're looking to the community to hire some of these positions that we need to moving forward. So, you know, I want to thank our team for all the work, Bhavin and his team, for the ongoing community support during our family universities. Our Bill of Rights are up on our website. We've also begun networking with BOCES to see where we can work together for commonalities and regionalization and programs that we can work back and forth with one another, which I know the state is looking at when they're looking at joint services and regionalization as we move forward. Challenges, and you mentioned it, here we go, teachers shortage, we're working on that. I explained to you what's happening, what we're doing as a district. We struggle also getting subs and permanent subs and TAs, and we're looking to address that as we move forward. It's really an area of concern. We understand it. We're working with civil service. Ms. Relusco is really doing a good job on trying to work with getting people in some of our administrative tasks, both here at central office and in our buildings. And there's work to do, but we are working behind the scenes. I don't want anybody to think we have job postings all over the place. We're struggling. A lot of districts are struggling also with getting people, but we're working on it. And now the business office. And Eric, I know you're going to go over this quickly, but I think it's important for the community to just better understand about the 6.7 million opposed to the 30 million.
Okay, thank you. So we had a presentation at our last meeting regarding the audited financial statements, which showed that there was a $30 million surplus in the budget from the prior year. And there are a lot of reasons that went into that, including a very important piece was that $15 million in salaries were moved from the general fund budget into the ESSA ARP grant in June in an action that was taken by this board. So that surplus, had that not been done, would have only been 15 million. What we have been hearing a lot of are conversations where people are misrepresenting that the issues that happened with the surplus from last year's budget are related to the 6.7 million that was added to the budget by the commissioners raising the tax levy. They're two mutually exclusive items that really shouldn't be tied together. There are a number of reasons that the surplus existed, and that includes, again, the 15 million that I just explained. There's also there was additional monies earned in interest due to higher interest rates available for the money that's invested during the year by the school district. And then we also, as our superintendent was just describing, we have a significant amounts of unfilled positions. And those positions are budgeted for in the budget in two ways, the salaries and then also the benefits for those positions. So had all of those positions been filled, again, that surplus would have shrunk even more. And then a few other pieces, there was some conservative budgeting in the transportation area where those dollars weren't spent. And then we also had monies in the budget for the anticipated settling of a contract, which we did settle tonight,
So those monies also were accounted for in the budget and weren't spent, and we'll be spending them in the current year. So just wanted to be able to make people understand that the two issues are separate and different, and the dollars that were added to the budget by the increased tax levy have all been earmarked to specifically address the students in our public schools based on what we were told by the Commissioner of Education into areas that would directly affect them and that they would see during this school year. Okay, so 30 million was last year, 6.7 is this year, and those dollars have been added into places in the budget that will affect our students directly before we get to the end of this school year.
Thank you. And just quickly, Mr. Tyndall, just the liquidation of the ARPA ESSER funds?
So we're winding down the closeout of our three-year ARPA project. Currently, right now, we've paid out 68 million, almost 69 million as of November 20th. On this resolution tonight, there'll be more change orders that are already work done as we move closer to that $90 million work. The bulk of our work really left is we have a handicap lift at Spring Valley, and we have windows that'll be wrapping up at Summit Park and starting at Hempstead this December. Outside of that, all the remaining work is about punch list items. If you don't know what a punch list item is, it's, all right, contractors did work. We came back in and said, this isn't done exactly the way we wanted it. Please fix it. They come back, they fix it. So that piece of work does take time, weeks, months if they have to order more materials. So that's really the remaining work. But outside of that, we accomplished a lot of work over a lot of time. And as our architects come up here and told before, this is the largest ARPA construction project anywhere in the state that we pulled off. So.
And Matt, thank you and all the work that you and the team did. As the students mentioned, they can see it in a lot of areas. It's a beginning. It's a good beginning. So I thank you and your team. I now just want to turn it to
One second, I have a question. Matt, just really quick. I know one of the students came up talking about the nurse's office, how it needed renovation and the pipes were showing in the walls. Are we perhaps going to do something about that or address that problem?
Yeah, I've already the administration already reached out to me about that. What I'm trying to do is get the timelines. I don't like to do a half response, so I want to give the exact information. I'll work with Ms. Rowe Cooper about that.
Great, so that situation is being addressed.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So before we move on, just a recommendation from what I've witnessed. Thank you for all the work that you're doing with facilities. You know, it's really making a difference in all our buildings. What I did notice is that with the work that's being done currently at Spring Valley High School, it's being done right after school while students are still in the building. I know there was an incident last week where during a scrimmage while we had NIAC at Spring Valley High School, the fire alarm went off and they had to evacuate the school, you know, for precautions, of course. But maybe if that can be communicated with the principals and also whoever is going to be at the buildings after school so they know where the work is being done so that students are not either in the building or in that hallway wing, that would be...
It's kind of a twofold thing. If I did that, I'd never get the work done because high schools stay open till 6, 7 o'clock at night. So that the issue becomes they already did a lot of that work moving around certain programs, and now it's kind of like, listen, we got to get some of that work done. I already talked to the principal at Spring Valley. We already put a plan in place to make sure the alarm situation doesn't happen again. So that's being addressed. But yeah, we're kind of in the final.
Yeah, I'm not asking for the work to be stopped.
We're in the final 10 yards of the work.
Correct, just for there to be a plan in place so that everyone is aware of what's going on when it's going on.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
A question. Are we taking the fire alarm offline when we work?
So some of the work involves Bondo and grinding of the metal. and the paint is actually being applied through a sprayer. So we have to take the alarm off. What happened was when it got taken off during the at the start, they set for an hour's time frame, and it just happened to come back on. So we're just making sure we take it off for the period of the work for the contractors.
They usually give a 4 and an 8 hour period on when they take it offline.
Yeah, so sometimes we had that happen where the work extended longer than what they originally said. So sometimes the contractors don't always accurately state their work for the night.
And do we have a fire watch? Who takes fire watch?
That would be our custodial staff. Our custodial staff at night is the largest custodial staff because all the cleaning's done at night. So then our custodial staff act as the fire watch.
And another question I saw on the chart before about the ARPA funds. We used up about 70 million. What's with the other 20? Are we losing it? Is it being used up? What's the story with that? I don't know who to address that question though.
So we filed an amendment with the state to use what we saw as leftover monies. We included on that additional monies for our athletic fields, and we included paving, and we also, that's what we're doing the additional water fountains with. So what we did was, we saw that we were going to have a savings and money that wasn't earmarked. We pivoted right in September, Mr. Stark, I believe, right around September. We filed that with the state. We got approved for that to swing that money towards those areas. So we're also doing the weight room renovation with that. The new dance studio at Spring Valley, fix that floor. Actually make a baseball stadium at Ramapo High School. Actually make a softball stadium at Spring Valley High School. Rebuild the batting cages. Things that have been neglected over a decade, we're trying to make right with a remainder shift of these funds.
I'm very happy to hear because we were all at the understanding that whatever we haven't used in September was lost.
So in terms of that, the federal government offered to the states, and then the state offered it to the school districts in the state of New York to fill out something called a late liquidation request. We filed that along with the amendment to allow us to do the work that Matt was describing. We have been approved for the late liquidation request. That currently sits with the federal government. They have to give the final approval, but we've been approved by the state. We're awaiting that approval from the federal government, and that will extend that period through December 31st of 2025. And we should have no problem spending the rest of what was granted to East
That's great
Ramapo.
news, actually.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Just curious, you mentioned that East Ramapo was, this ARPA funds was one of the biggest construction in the state. How was that East Ramapo was so fortunate with the biggest?
I think part of it was the relationship the architect had with SED, some of the consultants that were brought in, Mr. Carl Thurnow, for one, who used to run the Office of Facilities Planning for over 20 years. And it was, I believe, those relationships that were brought in and the straightforward and the plan that they presented is why.
I was talking about the dollar amount. Is the dollar amount?
Yes, so that plan involved the dollar amount. So that all that construction, they already had those numbers figured out. When you submit a project to SED, you submit a worksheet, and all that worksheet has estimated values broken out to it. So originally, the submission was almost, I believe, 120 million in construction. The state was like, really, 3 years? And so a little haggling back and forth of, can you realistically do this? Because it included, I would say, included windows for every building, HVAC for every building, and when they pulled it back, they're like, that's a little overambitious, so they cut it back down, and basically we're able to get it done. So we'd probably still, with those added projects, probably have another 2 years of construction if if that stayed on, that we wouldn't know we would have funding for.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tyndall. Thank you, Mr. DiCarlo. I believe we're done. And thank you. I'm sorry, 1 second. Thank you, Mr. Tyndall, for the great job you've been doing with the buildings. And thanks to this board for supporting the students and supporting the facilities and making sure that all these projects get done. So, good job. I'm sorry, Vice President McGill?
Yeah, just real quick, Mr. DiCarlo, the December 18th I know you're doing a virtual town hall with the students at Spring Valley. Is that going to be in person, like Ramapo?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what's going to happen is the students we're going to be in an area where they're going to ask me questions, but in conversations with Mr. Carlson, what we're going to do is actually stream it into every single classroom. So everybody will get to see it, because it's hard. We don't have enough space to get everybody in one big area, so we're going to stream it into the classrooms.
So it's virtual?
It's virtual, but there'll be a section where there'll be the students asking me questions, but it'll be going into the classrooms. Did I get that correct? Yeah, I thought so. Just wanted to make sure. I'm looking at you. But thank you.
I have a question.
That concludes.
I have a question for Mr. DiCarlo and Mr. Stark. Schools have been trying to contact the administration for transportation matters, and they're not getting either responses by email or by return phone calls. Which route should really be taken that they should get responses?
It's been my understanding that the inquiries have been responded to. Again, I've mentioned this in the past. If there are any schools that have concerns regarding that, they should contact me directly if they're not having...
Emails going back September, October, beginning of November, still not answered.
Again, if they have not been answered by Transportation Department, then they should have them sent directly to me, and I'll make sure.
Well, I believe you were CC'd on all of those. That's question number one. Question number two, on November 8, 19, we had a transportation committee meeting. I don't think anything materialized from that committee meeting. Several emails were sent and no responses.
My understanding from our director, the business director who is working directly with transportation, was that she had given a response, but I'll have to double check on that, and if that was not the case, I'll make sure that a response is sent.
Have you seen any responses? You were CC'd together in the emails.
I do not recall on that particular email. I have.
It wasn't one particular.
Very large
email
inbox.
Quite a few.
Was there another question?
I think it was Mr. Feder was saying it was about
for tonight.
What was that?
about responding to the emails and to the transportation inquiries, because there are some frustrations that some things are not getting answered. Some emails.
So I'll meet with Rochelle tomorrow to review all of those and make sure that they're addressed.
And then we'll have a response for you. President Rose will send you the response.
Okay. Well, the response should go to the schools. I don't need the response. I don't need to be involved.
Just that we're following up, as you as the board president, as a courtesy, so you know what we're doing based on what Trustee Feder said, which we're clearly will follow up with.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, moving on to consent and agenda items. Do I have a motion for consent and agenda items 1 through 10? Oh, Mr. Weissman moves the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. Who? It was Mr. Koth, I think. Second by Mr. Koth. We'll open up for discussion. Vice President?
Yes, I would like, I know this is a personnel item, Roman numeral 8, about appointments, athletics 2024 to 2025. So I have questions about it, and I know I can't do it out here because it is a personnel item. So I would like to be able to discuss it maybe in executive session, if you may give me that opportunity. Thank you.
Vice President, just out of we did do the exec before. Can we find out if this specific item is time sensitive? Perhaps we can pull that one until next meeting. You can have like this. We can address it just out of the interest of time.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, that work? Can anybody look into what Vice President McGill was saying and which item is it number 3 and item, what was it?
Roman numeral 8.
Roman numeral 8. So perhaps we can pull that, was it a point?
Was that section 8 of certificated you're talking about? Removing?
Yeah, number 3, and it's 8 appointments.
The entire section 8?
Let me just pull it up again. This one.
If you can't wait, I guess we can go into exec again. I mean, if the board agrees, I'm okay with that. Or we can just.
Or the
Just
other
for clarity's
option.
sake, are we speaking about one specific individual that's on that, so I have better understanding? Is it a specific individual, I'm not mentioning a name, with regards to discussion around that individual?
Right.
Okay.
If I can,
So it's not-
a point of information, as Mr. Gerhardt had pointed out at the previous meeting, that you can still put it to vote, and if 5 or more people vote to accept it, it's passed, and those who are unhappy with a certain section can say they vote nay to that section, which is what we did last meeting.
I understand what we did last meeting, but if a, trustee, I have a concern. I just have a question. I really can't say much because, again, it's a personnel item that I would like to ask our superintendent in regards to the situation. And I think it's important that we should be able to be given that opportunity. That's all.
So I would just add to that, your options are.
So no, I think, I
Return to
guess what I'm
exec now or
inferencing is
table?
not, it's a specific individual that's in question. So I guess the question to the attorney is, can everything else be accepted with the question of one individual to then be discussed in executive session, possibly at a next executive session?
Yes, if you want to remove 3 Roman numeral 8, which is what we're talking about, right, the appointments, athletics, 24, 25. If you want to remove that as a set-aside, you can still vote on the remaining consent agenda, and then that item would be removed and either discussed at your exec session next meeting or go back into exec at this meeting.
May I, just for clarity, is the suggestion to remove the resignation, but not the appointment? Because there's 2 action items here. One is a resignation, and one is an appointment.
I think the question on the table is about the resignation. I don't think
Just
it's about the
resignation,
appointment.
to keep the
Correct.
appointment.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay, so can we remove the resignation from, is that what you, yeah? Okay,
If we don't accept the resignation, they can't resign. What's the purpose of voting on it?
Mr. Gruber, I don't even think I can discuss it out here.
I'm just
I don't
asking
think that the board.
procedure-wise.
no, he's just asking what happens if we don't.
Procedure-wise, what happens if someone resigns and we don't accept the resignation? Is that what you're saying? We shouldn't accept it until next meeting?
Yeah. So in general, if you have someone who resigns and then you don't have to act on it prior to their resignation necessarily. So failing to act on that doesn't prevent the person from resigning. You would just act on it at the next meeting. I don't know the resignation letter. I don't know what dates we're talking about, but.
The date they say is 11/26. We do not have a meeting.
I think the question being asked is about the actual action itself, to further get a clarification as to the why behind it. I think that, to your point, the resignation the person has a right to, but I think the question for an executive session, and I don't want to speak for Vice President McGill, but I think that's what she's asking, is the why behind it.
And that would be appropriate executive session
Correct.
topic, and I would reserve that.
Correct.
I would set this aside for your next meeting.
Right,
Correct,
but-
there you go.
Okay, so do we have any opposition to tabling the item that Vice President McGill requested until the next meeting? So we don't have to go back and take exec? Just out of interest of time, because I have to be home already.
So I've marked down section 8, just the resignation is tabled till next meeting. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. If the board votes.
Do we need to vote on
I think we will. Okay, we'll amend the motion for items 1 through 10 minus 3 Roman numeral 8.
Resignation only, correct?
Resignation only. Effie, do you amend the motion? And Mr. Koth, I will second because Mr. Koth left already. Okay, any further discussion on the items 1 through 10? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, abstain, motion carries. Moving on to action items, I will now make a motion for action items 1 through 30. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Gruber. We'll open up for discussion.
Yes. Action item number 2. I just wish that we all had the opportunity to see exactly what was changed in each part of the policy, because there was different ones. One was use of school district facilities, so on and so forth. So just to be able to see what was changed or what was amended would be very helpful when voting on changing something in the policy.
Is there a particular policy you're referring to, or to all of them?
Yes, Ms. Kivy, it was 1500R, use of school district facilities. There was a couple of the wording, and some of it I wasn't clear on, and also after looking at it, wasn't sure exactly what was amended.
You might recall when you were on the committee last year, and the committee spent a lot of time on these policies and regulations, that the last time the, let me get the right number here, the 1500R and the E is the fees. The last time they were updated, I believe, was 2006. So they're totally different, totally different. The world is different today. The district is different. Our financial position is different. So I think, Mr. Tyndall, if we had done tracking changes on those particular things with facility fees, everything would have been read, and then everything that you see now would have been added, honestly. It is so different from what it was.
Yeah, it was completely gutted. It was a very cumbersome process to figure out billing. We kind of simplified part of it. There was separate billing for heating and cooling. Well, we're a New York State school district. We heat 10 months out of the year. So why do we have a separate fee schedule for any of that? So we went with the lower fee schedule, which is the heating, and we just made it one fee schedule. We also added additional things because as our stadiums got upgraded and things like that, those lights cost a lot of money to put on. So if groups want to come in at night to use those facilities and have us put those lights on, those are things that every other school district in this county charges outside organizations for.
Mr. Matthew, I'm clear. I just, would like to have seen what was amended. I just would like to see, okay, this is what it was compared to what it has been amended to. And I think that's fair to request.
I agree.
Because you can't tell.
Yeah, we can. I could ultimately just show what the original one was, because that's, the red line, like Ms. Keevy said, it would just all be red.
We can certainly do that. It would come back for next meeting at second reading, and I can work with Mr. Tyndall. We can get that. We'll put that up there, but I'm honestly telling you, almost everything in that old policy basically was deleted and then started to bring it up to date. But we can do that, and we can probably make sure that it's up in board docs for more than a week before the January 7th meeting, so that would give you lots of time to look at it before January 7th meeting.
So this
I
is
won't give
just
you an
the first
exact date
one.
because, there's a small matters of Christmas and Hanukkah that coming, but I'm pretty sure we could do it with at least up there 1 week in advance of the meeting for you. And
Thank
for
you.
all board members.
Thank you.
So when I send an email out, go to board docs and you can see it.
Thank you.
That'll be good.
All right?
Okay, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain, motion carries. Information and reports from the board. Vice President.
Yes, I just wanted to say, I don't know if you all know, but I would like to, give honor where honors due and congratulate there's, the Ramapo Spring Valley Football League, which is, in my opinion, a feeder program for East Ramapo Central School District that has been around for well over 50 years. They had, basically, they had 3 teams that were Metro North champions, and 2 of those teams have advanced to the American Youth Football National Championship games in Florida. And they're there as I speak. And I just want to, say to them, congratulations, because again, they're serving our children here in this district. Thank you.
What age levels, if you don't mind?
Oh, gosh. 8U, 12U, and 14U. So you're talking about kids that, yes, keeping them off the streets, right, and keeping them occupied. So it's a good thing. And the last thing that I do want to mention, and one of the young ladies was here this evening. It was great to be able to attend the annual Rockland BOCES annual service guide dinner, where some of our students attended. And I think it's great to have that opportunity to learn various trades, like culinary, nursing. They also have, if you want to become a beautician. So I think it's a great opportunity for our students here in East Ramapo. There was a few of us this year. Hopefully next year there'll be more. But I thought it was a great event. Thank you. Thank you, President Rose.
Thank you, Vice President McGill, and congratulations to the football team.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And good luck in Florida. Okay, moving on to written communications. Since the last board meeting, the board has not received written communications. I will now make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second? Second by the board. All of the favors say, oh, I'm sorry, I did miss the future meeting. Thank you, Trustee Gruber. Much appreciated. A regular meeting is scheduled for January 7, 2025, beginning at 7:30 p.m. in the PLCC room in the Administrative Building at 105 South Madison Avenue, Spring Valley, New York. Before we adjourn this meeting, I would like to wish all the staff, students, parents a very happy holidays and a happy new year. We will now adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed, abstain, motion carries. Thank you.